Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. Let's get started with Charles Hoskinson.
I think if one of the presidential candidates is launching DeFi projects, his family is directly involved, and he's speaking at cryptocurrency conferences, that one's probably going to be a little bit more pro-crypto than the one that put in Gary Gensler and has been on war with crypto for the last 4 years. So between Harris and Trump is certainly the favorite from a cryptocurrency perspective. But the reality is, regardless if the U.S. is pro-crypto or not, the world is moving on. Singapore has a lot of great things it's done, as has Hong Kong, as has the Middle East with Abu Dhabi and the ADGM, and Switzerland with FINMA. There's the MiCA regulations in the EU, the FCA, and UK is moving on. So the world, with or without America, is embracing cryptocurrencies. And as an American, it would be nice to see our country get back into the race and build things. But regardless if it is or not, it's not going to change the reality that the world will be decentralized.
But on Donald Trump, as you were just saying there, is it a red flag that it appears that perhaps he's been opportunistic given his family's ventures into crypto?
I mean, every politician has some degree of opportunism. Nancy Pelosi's trades are a great example of that. And that's what we have just come to expect and see in the American political system and how these things run. And to be honest, the president doesn't make these decisions alone. It's a broad tent, and you have to build coalitions. And what's nice and encouraging is when you talk to people like Tim Scott or you talk to people like Senator Lummis or others, they're very open to fair regulation, and they're very open to engagement and dialogue. We haven't quite seen that yet with the Democrat Party, with the current leadership. That said, there's an age divide. So when you talk to younger people in the Democrat Party, like the Ro Khannas and others, they actually are willing to engage and talk about sensible regulations with cryptocurrencies. The older guards, like the Elizabeth Warren, the Joe Bidens, we're not quite there yet. So I think eventually there will be a convergence, and Trump is Trump. He's an anomaly, and eventually he'll no longer be in U.S. politics. The enduring things are, is this good for America? And I think it's better to have fair systems that are corruption-free, that also distribute power around instead of aggregating it to multi-trillion-dollar companies that prevent people from having control.
Okay, we've got gold has an new all-time high, $2,620. Market braces for fiat destruction. Now, Consensus preemptively sued the SEC because I think they were afraid they were about to be sued for Ethereum being a security. Then they put this out yesterday. In April 2024, Consensus filed a lawsuit to protect the Ethereum ecosystem from the SEC's regulatory overreach and stand up for the industry that has been subject to the agency's reckless enforcement agenda. Unfortunately, the Texas court today dismissed our lawsuit on procedural grounds without looking at the merits of our claims against the SEC. Uh-oh. Does that mean Ethereum is back in play for a securities lawsuit? All right, this is and before I let you watch it, this is Gary Cohen. He was on CNBC with Jay Clayton, of ETHgate fame. I want to remind you who Gary Cohen is. Remember this article from Trump administration pop 2017 Bitcoin bubble ex-CFTC chair says? Remember this little clip right here. The CFTC staff handled it strictly on procedural grounds, but at the leadership level, I communicated with Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin and NEC Director Gary Cohen, and we believe that should Bitcoin futures go forward, it would allow institutional money to bring discipline to the value of the cash market. In other words, to crash Bitcoin. Gary Cohen is also the same guy that was in the FDIC video that was saying, yeah, we all may know that banks aren't safe, but that doesn't mean we want to let those retail people, we don't want to let the peasants know that banks are not really going to protect your money, or about these bail-ins that we're setting this up to do. That's the same Gary Cohen. Now, here he is.
But what Rick just mentioned, new highs in the stock market, you're not really seeing a lot of signs of non-froth. I mean, NVIDIA's
Also ex-Goldman Sachs CEO.
come down a little bit, but I mean, what's the unemployment rate? It's like at historic lows. There are some people that think we worked really hard to get back up to having some dry powder for the next slowdown. Why blow it now when it doesn't really, why use some of your powder now when it doesn't seem like there's any reason?
Joey, I think one thing that's going on here, well, I think there's two things going on. One thing is I think we have to acknowledge that we've gotten through the prior 4-year cycle. We've been sitting around talking, all of us, soft landing, hard landing, recession. I think that cycle where the Fed was raising interest rates and raised interest rates dramatically from 0 to 5.25%, that cycle's over. I think yesterday signaled, or Jackson Hole actually signaled the end of that cycle. We're now into a new cycle where the Fed's now on the other side of their dual mandate. And I think we're now also in a cycle where we are renormalizing. We're going back to normal, what a normal economy, what a normal interest rate curve looks like in the United States.
Are you sure?
What a normal...
It's not normal for me. It's normal in the last 15 years.
It is normal in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
If you look at what normality looks like, what normal unemployment looks like, what a normal yield curve looks like, the zero interest rate world was the abnormal part.
We're going back there as quick as we can.
This is where I agree with Gary. We're going back to normal dynamics. But to extend the soft landing analogy, we're landing in a different airport. I mean, we are
Okay, moving along. So here is Tom Emmer. He's talking about having a President Trump.
I look forward to working with Donald Trump and pounding a stake into the heart of the administrative state. And that is one of the prime examples, Gary Gensler at the SEC, and he should be fired. He is not, he's gone well beyond, frankly, he's gone against his mission.
Yeah.
The mission of the SEC is to make sure that every American...
He should be prosecuted for the Russian dossier, Tom. Why aren't you talking about that?
No matter if you're wealthy or if you're poor, has access to the greatest financial markets on the planet. I look forward...
See, these guys, the problem, the reason we got here in this country, folks, is because guys like Tom Emmer, they keep bringing fists to a knife fight, okay? And the Democrats don't play that way. They'll cut you. And this guy and all his friends keep showing up with their fists with no weapon. The only way to defeat these people is to fight fire with fire. Be as ruthless as they are. And these guys have never been willing to do that, and that's why they always get their butt kicked. Now, I wanted to show you this because I think there's an addition of a speaker at Ripple's Swell down in Miami in October that is worthy of note. It would be this guy, Nick Krakoff, head of product crypto on-off ramp at Stripe. I have tried to highlight as much as I could the connections between Stripe over the years, the connections between Stripe and the PayPal mafia, Ripple, and Stellar. Stripe owns 2% of the XLM, okay? They were the first investor in Stellar. They're connected to Jed McCaleb. I've always believed in my gut that either XRP or XLM or both are somehow going to be used on the X platform because Stripe runs payments for the X platform right now. PayPal Mafia were all big-time investors in Stripe, including Elon Musk. And Stellar is also having Stripe at their Meridian conference. Also, you got this in Miami when they do Ripple Swell. They're also having an XRP community night on October the 17th. That'll be fun too. Okay, Ryan Selkis and Nick Carter. Nick Carter tweeted this out. I'll give you the summary. We're not going to go through the whole thread. But the summary is this. When you remember when Silvergate Bank went down, there were rumors that Elizabeth Warren and her anti-crypto friends were behind putting the screws to Silvergate Bank and some other of the pro-crypto banks that were banking crypto. And now they've got documents. He says this is the smoking gun. Silvergate was solvent and able to operate, but the Fed had informed them they had to curtail their crypto business. Without a crypto business, they would have had to reshape the entire firm. It was this that caused them to liquidate. And they've got, these are some kind of court filings. And then Ryan Selka says sworn affidavits now confirm that Nick and I and others were screaming about 18 months ago. Liz Warren coordinated an extrajudicial hit on a private bank to hurt an industry that embarrassed her because she worked with Sam Bankman-Fried's father. That bitch deserves jail. That's his words, not mine. Now, so my question is, all of these Bitcoin and Ethereum maxis are furious at Elizabeth Warren. But most of them, even if they've acknowledged that they support John Deaton, have done a bunch of nothing to really support him. And a lot of these guys are major wealthy. Some of them are billionaires, and they have not stepped up. Only Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss and Ripple have stepped up with major money to support John Deaton. John Deaton crushed his competition in the Republican primary. He has a real chance to take her out. Why would these guys, these same guys that are furious over what Elizabeth Warren has done to crypto, why would these guys not? Are these guys, let me ask it another way. Are these guys still so angry about a certain thing called ETHgate that it was blown wide open and that many of them were complicit? Are they still so upset by that for that reason they just can't bring themselves to support John Deaton? Is that what this is really about? This. The XRP Unleashed documentary that's coming out in November.
The darkest day of the year was December 21st that Brad Garlinghouse came out and basically informed the world that they were soon going to be sued by the SEC.
The SEC its mandate is to help protect investors.
I got fudded out of the whole project because of this lawsuit. I lost my dream, my hope of buying something really, really solid.
At the very least, it's the appearance of impropriety. And then the other end of the spectrum, it's absolute coercion and collusion, right? And market manipulation.
People are going to lose money, and people had their life savings in XRP. It was Christmas Eve. I came back at about 1 o'clock in the morning, something like that. Christy said, where the hell have you been for the last several hours? And I looked at her and I said, I think I'm going to sue the SEC.
We became convinced that this whole case was merely a show. It was an attempt by the federal government to slow down the adoption and perpetuation of XRP.
Jay Clayton drops this lawsuit on his last day in office, like mission accomplished.
Jay Clayton, he hires his good friend, Bill Hinman.
Bill Hinman came to the stand in 2018 and gave his famous speech where he declared that Ethereum wasn't a security.
They did not issue that much Ether, and yet they let Bill Hinman go ahead and make the speech, saying that they're decentralized.
The bureaucracy beast system has been weaponized against the American people.
Dozen FBI agents, guns ablazing, came into my home. They tossed me into this van as if I'm Pablo Escobar or somebody.
The United States government's probably the biggest bully in the world. You got to defend yourself or you're going to get bullied forever.
We assemble an army so that we can be at the forefront of this change.
The XRP Army is a group of diverse people from all over.
Good morning, warriors. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of your favorite crypto news channel, Good Morning Crypto.
I ended up posting it on Twitter, the lawsuit, and the next thing you know, it was 5,000, 12,000, 20,000, and eventually grew to over 75,000 people from 143 countries around the world. All joined.
They want to be part of the new digital revolution. Blockchain technology is going to change everything.
Okay, I think you get it. Now, I wanted to show you this as we go into DAI XRP because, folks, I think our country's in a dark place. I don't think it's a coincidence that P. Diddy or whatever he calls himself now is being busted. My question is, why are they being? I'm having flashbacks of who, the guy on the island. But they say that he's been placed on suicide watch now. I think he's in the same prison that the other guy was in. I'm going to show you some things in DAIXRP.com. I feel like everybody is waking up to all of the evil that's been surrounding us and what these evil people that are in power have been doing. I feel like there's a real awakening going on. I'm going to show you some of it. Some of it's really disturbing, but I can't show it out here. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family. Have you ever wondered, why is it seems like for the last 5 to 10 years, if you loved this country, you would do X, Y, and Z. But instead, our leaders are doing A, B, C, and D. The exact opposite of what you would do if you really loved this country. Well, I think there's a lot of reasons that they've been doing that. And I think there's a lot of evil behind those reasons that a lot of them are doing that. Everybody from the media to our politicians to the pundits to the propaganda media, I believe that there are evil reasons behind why these people have been lying and not telling the truth. I'm going to show you some of them in here, and it is disturbing. Here we go.